Hello, welcome to English Composition 1302. I hope by now everybody has their books, especially the textbook, A World of Ideas. You really need to have this book, and this is what your cover should look like. It's the 8th edition. This class has been put together by a collaboration of teachers, which is a group of teachers that tried to meet the requirements of the university level. So some of the tests are challenging, some of the work is challenging, but it is at the university level. And for those of you taking dual credit, it also satisfies high school requirements, so we involved high school requirements as well as university requirements. The tests are challenging. Some of them have 25 questions or more. And don't worry too much about your test results because the tests comprise 10% of the grade. So do the best you absolutely can, but at the same time, remember the papers are what this composition course is about. The papers amount to 65% of your grade, and you will have 4 different papers. You'll need to write at least 20 pages altogether with those 4 papers to pass the course. Of course, the research paper by itself should be 9 pages plus a works cited page, so that's 10 pages right there. But you really should write as close as you can to 10 pages if you're looking to get an A on the research paper. And that paper's not due way until March 25th, which sounds a long time away from now, but you need to start thinking about your research paper now. As I said, the papers amount to 65% of your grade, and you're practicing writing during the journals and the discussion boards. So that's getting you to write, and you'll be doing exercises that work up to the research paper, like writing a topic proposal, what you think you want to write about. But you'll need to take one article from this book. So flip through this book in the table of contents and see if something interests you, whether it's civil rights, women's rights, gender, the differences between men and women's rights, government, leadership, the mind, if you're interested in Plato. You can pick anything in the table of contents as long as it's from this book to be your primary article, your primary source. So we don't have to have read it in class for you to choose an article in here that you like. And once you've done that, you need to realize you need 5 sources for the research paper. So one source is this book. It's your primary source. When I talk about a primary source in the instructions, that's what this is. Secondary sources are other sources. So you'll need to find 2 other books at least on your subject. You can find them on the internet. You don't have to actually go to a library. You can do Google Books. And they have books that you could read for free on Google Books. You could just read maybe one chapter, 10 or 15 pages of a book. You don't need to read the entire book to use it as a source. And if there's a few sentences there that you're using, that you're quoting from the book, that counts as a source. So do that, or if you have access to a good library, you could do that. And some of the libraries are online at your school also, where you can actually read electronic books. So you'll need one source from the World of Ideas, 2 other books, and then an academic journal, which you use the university databases to find an academic journal, and some of that is covered in some of the videos on MLA and librarian videos that are in this course. And also I will accept an internet source, news media magazines like Time Magazine or a legitimate news source. Wikipedia you cannot use, eNotes or SparkNotes, those are not legitimate sources. Those are not scholarly or academic sources. Wikipedia is something I could go in and change and have incorrect information in, so Wikipedia is not a good source. The only use for Wikipedia is sometimes when you'll see something in there, if you go to read to get general information, everybody does, even teachers do that, to get general information. There might be a footnote, like a little number at the end of the sentence, and if you scroll down to the very bottom of the page of Wikipedia, it'll tell you where they got that information, and sometimes it'll be an academic source. It'll be an academic journal that you could click on to find your way to a real academic, credible source. But that's about the only thing Wikipedia is good for. You can't quote from Wikipedia. You can use it to find other sources. Also, say you're interested in Plato, especially if after watching the movie The Matrix you like the idea of illusion. You could have a research paper topic on the internet and Plato's allegory of the cave, how images aren't always what they seem to be. Images can be manipulated and altered and changed, so you can get a false image. There's also false news stories on the internet, and I know a lot of those show up on social media like Facebook, where it reads like a real news story, but it's not a news story and it never happened, and the facts aren't straight. So you can maybe use that as a paper topic, something like that, to relate Plato's allegory of the cave to some type of illusions that we deal with in today's society, especially with all the media that we have. And I don't mean just news media, I mean media like the internet and social networking and things like that. So you can have something more modern related to one of these articles in the world of ideas. So the first draft of the research paper is not due till March 25th after spring break, but it'll be here before we know it. So start thinking now what your interests are and what you'd like to write about, and you can send me an email of what you might want to write about. And there's two sides to every story in a research paper, so keep in mind there's two sides to every argument, or else it's not an argument. If it's one-sided, then there's no reason to do research, and there's no reason to try to persuade anybody on one side of the idea or another. And also, I'm thinking about offering extra credit for coming to virtual office hours. I set those up so people could ask questions. If you don't have a webcam, you can do live chat. And I might be able to add extra credit points to homework assignments that are under your homework grade for students to participate in office hours, so that you get extra help and you get questions answered. So email me if you're interested in that. I know most of you have a lot of extracurricular activities and you wouldn't be available till 4 or 5 o'clock. But I've had some video conferences and nobody has come to them yet, so I'm trying to find a time that's useful for you. So do let me know. And I just wanted to talk a little early about research papers. Good jobs on the, everybody's doing well on the tests. The discussion boards, be sure to give responses to 2 other people. So you should have 3 posts on the discussion board. Your initial post, what your ideas are, it's usually at least 300 words or more to answer the questions of the post and really get into the information. And then you have to respond to 2 other students. Show that you thought about what they have to say. Don't say just, I like what you had to say, good job. Actually think about what they have to say. Maybe ask them a question. And you can respond to more than 2 students. If you're looking to get an A in the class, you've noticed some students are already responding to 4 students, or writing longer discussion boards and really reflecting on what people have to say and thinking about their answers. So I'll develop more videos and some live video conferences for those of you that are interested. And good to meet everybody in email. But it's nicer to put a face on everybody instead of just having email to deal with. And do text me before you call, since I am in a lot of meetings. And it's good talking to you.